Let's talk footwear today. Now, the first question that you typically have to overcome is, do you hike in boots or trail runners? And, if this was 30 years ago, I think boots were overwhelmingly more popular. Grandma Gatewood walked in a pair of Keds, right? So, you don't have to have boots. You don't have to have trail runners. I'm simply going to show you some options, right? So, the disclaimer to this is that everyone's feet are different. So your experience in one shoe will be different from person to person to person. So what I'm going to talk about specifically in this video are about 6 different types of shoes and some recovery shoes. I'm also going to deal in cushioning or stack height, basically. I'm going to deal with a little bit of durability, and then I'm going to deal with the lugs on the bottom, right? So here we go. In no particular order. This is the first shoe that I have spent a ton of time in. It's one of many, right? This is the Hoka Challenger, and this has a 37 stack on the back and a 30 stack on the front. And most people would agree the Hoka makes the most comfortable shoes, right? But there's some difference in the designs, and so I get a little comfortable here, is notably first in the lugs, and I'll put it up close so you can see. Right, so you notice in the front it has a very medium type of lug on there. It's not and you can tell I've worn them out on here, but and then on the back is the middle to back is not very much lug at all, right? So that's going to be your traction or your grip on the trail, and I'm going to show you the different ones on different shoes. So as far as this shoe, you'll notice that it has a very narrow toe, but it's more traditional shoe width on there. There's no gaiter attachment on the front, and the upper is a traditional shoe upper. It's very thick, and you can kind of see that on there. The durability is good though. I've hiked probably in these particular shoes about 400 miles in these. It's a good all-around shoe for comfort and walking. The next, I'm going to go the complete opposite and show you the Lone Peak. Now this is the Model 6. So it will look different from some of the Lone Peak 7s. Again, you can see this has a traditional upper in the top, just like a normal shoe would be. You can look on there, the collar. This has gaiter attachments on the back, a Velcro, and then on the front there is a ring here to attach right to your shoelace on there. Now, when you talk about stack height on these, this is a 25 in the back, and you can tell the amount of cushioning here is different. I'll put it up right next to the Hoka, and so you'll be able to see the stack height. You see the difference in the stack heights now? We're here versus here on the sole, and this little yellow is called the mid section on there. This is a 25, and that's a 37 on the back of these, right? So now, if you look at the bottom on the lugs, you'll notice a very different. There's none of the cushioning that was here on the midsole of the Hoka, and you have these that are angled, right? And angled on the back that keeps you from slipping forward backwards, right? That's what those are for. The 25 on the front and the 25 on the back are what's called a zero drop shoe. And this would be more of a minimalist shoe. I don't know if it's fair to say minimalist, but these are some of the lower stack heights that you're going to find. All right, so the Hoka, and what I'll do then is change over to what's called a Topo. And I know this looks a little bit like a clown shoe. I ordered these too big. You can just tell how they look like literally clown shoe in the front. But you can see the stack height on here is higher than the Lone Peak, but lower than the Challenger ATR6 from the Hoka brand, right? If you look at the bottom of here, again, I would say a medium aggressive lug on here. And this is the Mountain Racer 2. There is a gaiter attachment in the front here, and then Topo has a proprietary gaiter connection on the back here. A really good shoe. I probably have about 100 miles in these, so I don't have quite the mileage as I do on the other pairs, but still a really good solid shoe with a Vibram bottom. You can see the Vibram label right up in here. Yeah, I wanted to make sure it said Vibram before I said that. But that's the Mountain Racer 2. Then I changed to these guys, and you can immediately see that the stack height is higher than the stack height on here. And this is actually a 35 stack height on the back and a 30 stack height on the front. Again, this is a Topo, but a little less clown shoey, but you'll notice that just like the Ultras, there is a toe box on the front of here. Not as much as these old Lone Peaks. Now on the Lone Peak 7, I've heard feedback that the toe box is not as big, but these are kind of a good, these are the Ultraventure 3 by Topos, and I like this shoe as an everyday shoe to go between trail and between road. It's a really good shoe for that. Like if you're gonna hike out on a road and then hit a trail, this is the shoe that would be a really good one for me. Now, there is a gaiter connection in the front, and again, the Topo proprietary on the backs there. It has a traditional upper in here, meaning it's not a really thin kind of upper. And then again, lugs on the bottom. You'll see that these are also a Vibram bottom, and I would probably place this in the lower edge of medium as far as aggressive lugs. And I'll give you a close up there on the shoe. Then the last shoe on the shoe side, and I'm going to talk about another recovery shoe after that, would be this guy here. These are brand new for me, but these are the Altra Olympus 4s now, or these are the 5s. Now I did use the Olympus 4s, so I do have experience in these. I have brought this old one out here to show you that I do have worn these and can tell you a little bit about them. But this is the 5. It's one of the newer shoes out. Again, you know, being an Ultra, it has this toe box that comes around. It has a connector for a gaiter, and then you'll notice that it has the Velcro back. So just about any gaiter that you'll get will fit on here, unless it's the Topo proprietary, right? This one has a different upper though. You can tell on here, it's a little thinner. People complain about that. I like it. It doesn't move for me when I lace it, and you'll see on these, I've got them laced to the back hole here, and I skipped this middle. When it comes laced here, one downside of these was the shoelace was incredibly short compared to like lacing up some of the other shoes. And this one didn't fit as loose as some of the other shoes, right? So I'm not quite sure if I'm gonna wear this one on the trail. I bought it specifically to take it for the thru hike, but I think I'm gonna end up hiking in the Ultraventure 3s. I haven't quite made that decision yet. I go back and forth. My feet are doing a little bit of swelling on the pads of my feet from doing so many miles, and I've tested out these different shoes. But if you look at this, on the bottom of this one, this is what I would call an aggressive lug, and I'll give you a look here across the screen. Very, very aggressive lug, and you can see on the back, there's actually some lint hanging off of the bottom of them. But you can see some very aggressive lugs on the bottom of those, and those are perfect. Now, again, these have the gaiter attachments on the back and on the little tongue here. So what I'll do is then talk about shoes for a little bit, but I wanted to show you what these camp shoes that I have. These are the Hoka Aura Recoveries. I've had them forever. They're like 50, 55 bucks, I think. I'm not sure how much I paid for them, but that's what they're currently going at. These weigh a little bit less than Crocs. You miss the heel strap, but as far as being comfortable, like the amount of cushion and stack size on these, after a long day of hiking, I love to put these guys on. It's like walking on a cloud on these. It really does support the name of the brand on here. Hoka is one of the most cushioned. So I like these, and what I do is I'll tend to stack them like this on my pack, run my strap through there and just clip them on the back of my pack. And so they just kind of sit and hang off the back like that. Pretty easy peasy. The challenge would be on a water crossing. If the water's flowing this way, you're gonna wanna face your shoes that way. If you were to put them on backwards and lift your foot, you'd probably lose these shoes down the river. And they're super floaty. You'd really have to struggle to get them back. So anyway, I like these as recovery shoes. But I wanted to talk about feet in general. And I say this over and over again. Feet are not identical twins. Even your own feet, right? So your feet are more like cousins, and there's no two feet that are really the same. So what I would encourage you is to find a store that will take returns. I happen to choose REI. You can choose any store that does returns. Go pick your first pair of shoes out, try them on, take them on a trail, make sure that they have a good return policy. I took out my first pair of Hokas. They were the Stinsons, and I walked probably 50 miles in them. They gave me a blister. I didn't like them. They were super comfortable, but they were tight on the tops of my foot. And I got blistered on the top of my foot. You can still kind of see where it's, even a year later, it's still a little pinkish. But, find one that will give you a full refund and let you try another pair of shoes. I've probably bought 4 or 5 pairs from them, returned them. They sell them used, and then they give you your full refund to go try a different pair out. Because they say, what they're thinking is in their mind, if I give them a pair of shoes to go and test, and they like them, they'll just continue to buy from us, so they'll make their money back. And they bought them at a discount from the manufacturer. So they're really providing a service for you as the hiker to be able to find out what is your preference on there. So if you go to thetrek.com thetrek, TREK.com, and you look for the 2021 or 2022 hiker survey, you'll notice that of the ones that, through hikers that were on the trail that filled the survey out, over half of them wear the Lone Peaks. Over half wear the Lone Peaks. There's a reason for that people like that. I do think there are other brands that are becoming more popular as you hit the trail. I've seen different ones. But I think for me, I'm going to be making the swap to Topo. I'm not really sure 100%, but that might be the one I'm through hiking in. So anyway, hit like, hit follow, subscribe, and thanks for watching.